Welcome to Woodward Wings. I am Justice Atawa, and you are here for the free agency frenzy that is about to take place, and we are going to
free agency frenzy.
We are here. We have Flannel and Spencer,
Hello.
And we are locked in. We're going to go through every rumor that has come out for the Detroit Red Wings so far as we prime you for free agency. Tonight is the draft. This will drop on the day after draft day, though, on Saturday. So we do not know who they're going to pick, but that doesn't matter. This is a free agency primer. Hopefully you tune into our draft show. Me and Spencer will be live. We would have been live yesterday. So let's dive right into it. So yesterday, I put on Twitter Noah Dobson to the Red Wings with a trade package that has been rumored around. The validity of it is unknown. It was reported by a very good Islanders beat reporter who I talked to some Islanders fans, and they say he does great work. So I don't know the validity of the rumor, but it was Dobson for Danielson, JT Compher, Jonathan Bergeron, and the 13th overall pick. I can tell you right now, my take on there was I would do it in a heartbeat. The odds that you draft someone who is as good as Noah Dobson is in his career is so low, where if you're just playing percentages, it just makes sense. So, fellas, what do you think about that trade? You get to salary dump JT Compher, and you get to bring in a top pairing defenseman for pretty much Nate Danielson.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that it would not be my first choice to trade for. Obviously, Ekblad would be my first. You just sign Aaron Ekblad, and then you don't have to give up assets. That would be my first choice. But when you're looking at Noah Dobson, you're looking at a guy who would complement Mo Seider really well, even though, you know, they're both right-handed, and I know that freaked out some people on Twitter, but it's not the end of the world. But what he does well is he blocks shots at an extremely high level. 2 years ago, he had almost 200 block shots. He had 180 block shots. Last year, he had 127. And he's not the guy that's going to go out there and mash everybody and hit people up against the boards and do things like that. He plays defense more technically sound, positioning, getting in passing lanes, getting in shot lanes, and making sure that people don't get open looks at the net. So I think that will help Mo Seider very well because he'll be more technical end of the defense, while Mo Seider is obviously more, I don't want to say brute strength because he's a very technical player as well, but he'll be the one to be able to deliver the big hits and not worry about his defensive partner leaving him out to dry while he's overextending to try to hit somebody in the corner. And then we talked about, you know, yesterday, his goal-scoring prowess, where he's had double-digit goals the past 4 seasons. He's got a great point shot, and that's somebody who could just sit there loaded on the blue line waiting for that one-timer. So, yeah, would it be a good fit? Yes, I would like it. He would immediately make your team better. He would immediately be in your top defensive pairing. Am I in love with giving up assets to get a guy like that when there are some available for you to get in free agency? No. But also, Red Wings fans have to realize that Nate Danielson is not the second coming of Connor McDavid. Like, Nate Danielson right now, if he even made the Red Wings, first of all, that's a big jump. Like, if he makes the Red Wings and he's good for his standards, he would still be at best your third-line center. You're not going to play him.
Or you're moving him to wing.
Or you're moving him to wing. You're not going to play him over Casper. You're not going to play him over Larkin. So I understand loving your guys and wanting to hold on to your guys, but the Red Wings need players right now, and if I have to give up a Nate Danielson to bring in a top 4 defensive guy, I'm going to do it. And I don't think Red Wings fans should be holding their pitchforks about something like that. Now, again, Noah Dobson would be a good pair stylistically for Mo Seider. It's almost as good as it gets stylistically for Mo Seider when you talk about a mix of offense and defense and what they both do defensively, but I don't love giving up assets when there's guys available that you can get in free agency.
I agree with that. I would rather go after someone in free agency, but this was an avenue that was given to Red Wings Twitter, and I personally, if this was the avenue that we took, I would not be mad about it.
And that's where I pretty much am in lockstep with both of you, because it's not even just Ekblad. There's Ryan Lindgren's available. Vladislav Gavrikov is available. Ivan Provorov is available. If you would rather take that avenue, go after a free agent. However, as you said with Dobson, he's got a particular set of skills. He can block shots. He can score both on the 5-on-5 and in the power play, and he's more technically sound. He's not really a guy that's going to get you a lot of hits, but I don't think that's what's going to be needed if he were to be paired with Mo Seider. And the deal, I would have no problem whatsoever in this hypothetical trade with giving up JT Compher, Jonathan Bergeron, Danielson and the 13th overall pick. If that's the avenue that the Red Wings would choose to go on, I would be okay with it. I'd be like, you know what? They're going to be a playoff team next year. No doubt about it, and they're not done in this offseason.
Yeah. The Danielson stuff, like, I like Danielson.
I like Danielson too.
I think he could be a good top, like, if he's a top 6 forward, that's a good thing for him. But he's not right now. Nate Danielson is not going to help this hockey team right now. Noah Dobson would. I'm more worried about right now because this team needs to make the playoffs and this team needs to do something next year. So Nate Danielson is not going to be a piece that's going to do anything significant in pushing the Wings needle to a playoff team or to a team that's going to win a playoff series, even in the next couple years. So, yeah, I think the net of getting out of the Confer contract and getting a top 4 defensive guy, even though you're giving up somebody you like, you're not going to get these guys for free. Like, you're not going to get a guy like Noah Dobson for JT Compher and Gustafsson. Like, it's not – nobody's going to fucking do that. You're going to have to give up one of these prospects. And I think Danielson is the one out of guys in our system that are worth a shit that teams actually want. He's the one I'd be willing to part with first.
100%. And I want to bring this up as well because it's relevant in the way that I feel like if we don't get more active in free agency and the trade market, we're going to continue to get passed by teams. And, like, Utah and the Flyers both made moves, and I know Utah's in the West, but the Flyers with getting Zegras now, you could argue, have a better top 6 than the Red Wings. And I personally, for that package that they gave the Anaheim Ducks, especially with Zegras being an RFA, I think that I would have liked the Wings to take a swing on that and try to see what Zegras could bring to this roster, considering the fact you need guys who could score goals. And he's a guy who's a bona fide 30 goals walking around every year, especially when he's playing with good line mates where he doesn't have to carry the play. And so I personally would have liked to see us kick the tires on Zegras because it's a low-risk, high-reward type of deal.
Yeah.
If he works out for the Flyers, he's going to get a long-term extension. If he doesn't, he's going to walk in free agency, and they're going to retain draft capital for him. It's like they didn't even have him. So, like, that's my issue with we didn't even hear us in the realm of Zegras.
No.
And that's where, like, yeah, I understand we have a small top 6.
I'm not mad at them missing out on Zegras. I'm not.
I'm not mad about it, but I would have liked them to explore it.
As long as they make another move.
Yes. I don't want to be sitting here with our wieners in our hand because we didn't go after a guy.
Say dicks. Don't say wieners.
Who has I'm trying not to swear, man.
Dicks isn't a swear word.
All right.
It's a store that sells sports equipment.
Okay. It's a store. But yeah, I just think that we are at a point where we can't be picky about talent when it's talent. And when we're talking about trading for guys, we're talking about bringing guys in free agency, we need players who can play and can score goals and help this team 5-on-5.
I do like my players being able to play.
Yeah. No, hey.
No, I get
no, for real.
I was joking there, but I know what you mean. Like, I don't want any more Gustafssons or Tarasenkos.
No, and the fact that we've not even heard a buyout yet. Like, Stevie. Like, you're going to wake up a little bit? Like, the buyout period opened a week ago, and we still have Hall and Tarasenko. Like, no one wants Hall. I understand that, but why are we not buying him out?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Like, seriously. And then, like, Tarasenko, yeah, you're probably going to be able to move him. So I'm fine if you keep him for a little while and try to move him. But at the end of the day, you still have to make a move to buy out these guys and free up that cap space to be able to go after guys.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the reality is that we as Red Wing fans, unfortunately, are a bit traumatized by even a bit of a slow moving. I agree with you, Spetty. Trevor Zegras, obviously in a vacuum, I would like to have him on the Red Wings. He would play a role. And if he, I'll just say this, if he somehow helps the Flyers pass the Red Wings in the standings, I will be crashing out big time. I don't think that's going to happen, though. But to your point of being in the room, working on some buyouts, being in more rumors, I get what you're saying, because the Red Wings can't have a passive offseason. There's no way. There's no way.
Absolutely not. You look at what happened last year, where you had the teams that you were like in the same realm with that all jumped the Red Wings when you talk about the Senators and the Canadiens and even the Blue Jackets. And now you're looking at that next wave of team. Like, I think we all think the Rangers are going to be better next year. Yeah. And you're looking at the Islanders and the Flyers as the other teams that are like, okay, you know, we can't expect the Bruins and the Rangers to be this bad again next year. Well, so the Red Wings.
Shopping Pastrnak as well.
I'd take Pasta off. I don't want to hear Red Wings fans say anything about ridiculous trades that I would put out for Pasta, because I don't think there is a single player in this organization that is not untouchable when it comes to David Pastrnak. That guy is a fucking 50-goal scorer in his sleep. Like, you would do anything to get him here, but maybe for a different day. But I'm just saying, you got to keep up with these teams. You can't keep getting jumped. There's only so many teams that can jump you until you're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference with Buffalo. So, like, you gotta keep the arms race going to keep up with the Philadelphia and to keep up with the Columbus, because you're not going to catch Ottawa and Montreal. They're already a step ahead of you.
I think you could easily catch Montreal because of the fact that they're going to struggle to sign free agents with the Canada tax.
So are we. Dude, it's not like we're not. It's not like everybody's lining up to come to Detroit.
Well, I agree, but like when in terms of the cap structure, like they have to pay an extra $1.5 million to the Florida teams, where we only have to pay an extra $500K. Like, it's a huge difference in the taxes. So I do think that those are the teams I'm not scared of. The teams that I'm scared of jumping us are the Islanders, the Rangers, and the Blue Jackets. They have been in on every rumor that Detroit is in on. They are also in on that guy.
The Rangers are going to be good again.
The Rangers are going to retool, and they're going to be nasty again. I don't like the fact that all these teams above us and below us are all making moves to try to retool and get better, and we are not. Like, we have not been in a trade conversation yet.
Yeah.
We have
no buyouts, like you said. No, yeah.
Like, we have done nothing.
Didn't even sniff at Zegras, and I didn't want Zegras, but like
didn't sniff at JJ Petrka. Didn't sniff at who's the other RFA that just got traded? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. But like, why are we not in on Petrka? He's a 23-year-old center with an 80-point season. Like, they traded him for nothing to Utah.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Literally nothing. That was honestly crazy.
And apparently they had options to.
What the fuck is Buffalo doing?
I don't know. They could have got Jordan Kyrou. They could have got 2 first-round picks from other people. They could have gotten Noah Dobson.
At least we don't have to worry about Buffalo, and maybe we can get Owen Power in a year.
I know. I mean, we need to be starting to call Buffalo every couple days. Hey, you guys got anyone on the trade block? We'd love to get Tage Thompson. Like, there's going to hit a point where we got to make a big move. Like, we need a big move. Like, especially because, like, in the Ekblad rumors, Columbus is right there with us. In the goalie rumors, Columbus is right there with us. And we're just hitting a point where we are going to miss out on everyone if we are unwilling to make bold moves.
And Flannel, I'll let you say your piece on this. I just want to say, if the Detroit Red Wings get outbid by Columbus for big-time free agents, there's no such thing as Hockey Town anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think that's crazy to say.
That is not crazy.
Like, Hockey Town's a fleeting memory right now, but if you're losing on free agents to Columbus, there's no such thing as Hockey Town.
I was going to say, if you want to get technical,
yeah,
Columbus did pass Detroit in terms of point total.
Yeah.
Not by much, but still, it matters. If you're asking me if the Red Wings... And again, I don't think that they'll do nothing. I think that they're going to still be active. However, if they get passed up by the Islanders, who sold Brock Nelson, we're not Hockey Town, and I'm crashing out.
I would crash out 100%. For sure.
The Islanders, they should be... The Red Wings should be better.
You got to be able to jump Columbus. You got to be able to keep the Islanders under you. You got to be able to hope the Rangers aren't good again. You got to be able to hope the Bruins and the Penguins and the Flyers don't get shit together. You know, those are pretty good organizations that don't tend to stay in rebuilds for too long.
Devils didn't even have Jack Hughes last year.
Yeah, the Devils are going to be better.
Yep. Like, this will be... You will need 95 points to make the playoffs next year, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just as even a wild card team.
Yeah.
Like, Montreal had 91 and the Devils had 91. But both of those teams are going to be better next year, no matter what. They're not losing anyone, and then the Devils get Jack Hughes back.
Yeah.
So you are looking
at probably
95 points to get into the club.
I would, yeah, that's fair.
And
like you said, the Rangers will be up there again too. So yeah, you're not going to skate through with 91, 89 points.
Right here, the Canadiens are in on Noah Dobson. They're going after him.
Oh,
like it's. the Blue Jackets would love to get their hands on Noah Dobson. I'm reading all these rumors about Noah Dobson. The Wings not connected to them in 2 days.
Also, though, like, you're never really going to hear the Wings in stuff like that because Stevie doesn't.
No, that's true.
Doesn't tip his hand at all.
I understand that, but at the same time, you know, we're
tip your hand a little bit for us, Stevie. Give us a fucking worm to nibble on.
Yeah,
Pause.
please.
Like, we're dying here. We're drowning, and we can't have Columbus and Montreal and New Jersey and all of these teams that you're supposed to be clumped in with getting better, and the teams that are worse than you, the Philadelphias and those other teams, getting better as well, and we're just sitting here stroking our dicks. Like, come on. I know that was a little bit of a crash out, and I don't expect Stevie to just sit on his hands, but is it wrong for me to ask for some kind of, hey, we're doing this, or him to come out and be like, hey, we like these guys? Like, I'm dying here, Stevie.
We're looking in the trade market, like, literally anything.
Something.
Literally, like,
something.
I will take the smallest grain of cracker. Like,
yes.
I'm in the desert, and you literally have one drop of water that you just place on my tongue, and it melts and evaporates before it even hits my tongue. That's all I need, Stevie.
Yes.
I just need a taste.
Some reprieve.
But, like, the Aaron Ekblad stuff, like, that's all of our, I believe, number one defensive, like, target out of all three of us.
Yeah.
That came out yesterday. Utah, Dallas are both going to be involved. Both of them have lower income taxes than Michigan. So that is going to be a bump that you're going to have to get over. You're probably going to have to pay him an extra $500,000 million for him to come to Detroit. And that's something you have to do. Like, we're at a point where Dobson's asking for $10 million, $11 million because of the fact in 2 years it will be worth $7.7 million on the 2024-2025 cap.
Yep.
Like, it's still not going to be that much when it comes down to the time where in 2 years when you do re-up Casper, re-up Edvinsson, those contracts still will be a good contract.
And the cap's going up a lot.
It's going up it'll be up $30 million in 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about a huge cap jump. So I think that, yeah, the fact of the matter is you are going to have to be in this arms race. You're going to have to do whatever it takes in order for you to compete and be able to keep pace with the Rangers who are making moves. The Islanders are going to infuse a bunch of young talent into their veteran core. It's going to be a tough spot for the Wings.
No, and what kind of scares me, and I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything, but it's reality. It's the Red Wings. They're a big offseason. Yeah,
they're drowning.
Absolutely.
Well, they're treading water right now, which is pretty much dying.
We're looking at the teams in the East that were once where the Red Wings are at, but have now either passed them or are right there. You're looking at the Ottawa Senators. Do the Red Wings have anybody better on their team than Tim Stützle?
No.
Absolutely not. Do the Red Wings have anybody better or on par with Nick Suzuki or Lane Hudson? Do the Red Wings have anybody as good as Zach Werenski for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who kind of came out of nowhere to become like one of the best defensemen in the league last year? That's what kind of scares me. And I'm not saying that Zach Werenski's like a bona fide superstar.
If Raymond could put a full season together, he could be on par with those guys, but we haven't seen it yet.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I believe that this will be the season he does, as long as he has an actual legit line mate on his other wing. Then that's what we were lacking last year, and that was a huge issue. And I think that affected his consistency.
Patty Kane,
Showtime.
I love Showtime. I do, but
I was about to say,
he cannot be a top six forward on the team.
He needs to be on your third line.
He needs to be Tarasenko on a team.
100%, no doubt.
That's why the Red Wings suck. Like, flat out. That's why the Red Wings suck. They have guys like Tarasenko and Justin Hall and Gustafsson that should not be on NHL rosters, and then they have guys like Patrick Kane who should be a Tarasenko, and he is playing top 6 minutes. And you cannot have a guy like Patrick Kane at this point in his career playing top 6 minutes if you want to win games, because he gets absolutely abused in 5-on-5, and he's a defensive liability. And when you already have guys like DeBrincat, who I love, like Raymond, who I love, who are not good 5-on-5 players, who are not good defensive forwards, you can't highlight that with their vet being useless defensively. So I love Patrick Kane and what he is. Red Wings fans need to understand that on a good team, Patrick Kane is seeing third or fourth line minutes. On a good team, on a Stanley Cup team, Brad Marchand was seeing fourth line minutes, third line minutes. Brad Marchand would be the best forward on the Detroit Red Wings right now. Like, we are severely lacking in upper echelon talent, and I don't want them signing any more mid guys. So anytime you guys, Red Wings fans, talk about trading in for another guy or bringing in another guy that is a second or third line forward, it literally makes me lose my fucking mind because we have a team full of second and third line forwards. We don't need any more of those.
Is it? I'm gonna say something a little zany, but it's the middle of the summer, and I don't even know if it's necessarily zany. When it comes to Patrick Kane, I honestly think, in a perfect world, and I don't think they'd ever do this, even if it's just out of respect to Patrick Kane and the name that he is, fourth line, PP1, and overtime, maybe even on your first line.
He makes me nervous on overtime, too, because obviously if he gets the puck and he's in open ice, he's probably going to win you the game, but if he doesn't have the open ice, he's going to lose you the game because he's not going to get back or he's going to, yeah. He scares me in overtime, even though
I get it.
It's literally like putting Patrick Kane out in overtime is a flip of a coin.
Yeah.
It's either he's going to win you the game or he is going to cause a 2-on-1 breakaway and you're going to lose because of it.
Okay, yeah, I get it, because even though it's more open and that maximizes offensive skills right now, it also could.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword because he had so many games, so many moments, many, and hey, obviously make him a part of your shootout rotation, of course. But maximize what he does best. I agree with you guys 100%.
And I agree with what you said, Flannel, and I think he knows that. Okay, Patrick, if you give Patrick Kane a roster that is worthy of him playing on the third or fourth line, he's not going to throw a fit about it. We saw Brad Marchand do it, and Brad Marchand is way better than Patrick Kane is right now.
Yep.
So those guys know. But if he's seeing the Rasmussens and the Christian Fishers and the guys like that, he's like, I'm not playing on lines with those fucking bums. I'm better. Rightfully so. If I saw the bottom six that the Red Wings have and I'm Patrick Kane, I'm not playing with those fucking losers. Like, you got to get good talent in here to justify Patrick Kane being on the third or fourth line, which he should be.
Yes, 100%. And, you know, speaking of the double-edged sword, the sword that always seems to be drawn every offseason, it is the fact that Steve Yzerman is in on a goalie. But the issue is, everyone's in on a goalie.
Give me Benny.
And please, Jordan Binnington. But, like, the Blue Jackets, they're in on Gibson. So are the Wings. Like, there is just everywhere you look when it comes to a player, you end up seeing the fact that there are multiple other teams that you are right there with who are going after all these players. John Gibson, to me, is a very intriguing option. The Anaheim's defense
what the hell is Anaheim
fucking
doing?
Absurd. They are so bad.
Yeah.
And then their front office doesn't even know what they're doing.
Yes. But I have no idea. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what Anaheim's doing.
They take on Kreidler's contract. They're like, oh, yep, we're going to try to make the playoffs. But then they're going to trade Zegras, our second-best offensive player. I don't know what they're doing. Either way, if they decide to trade John Gibson, I'm down. I think with even a remotely decent decor, he's a very good starter, and he will be an upgrade from Mrazek. So I'm game for John Gibson. I don't think it's going to cost a lot either to acquire him because of the fact that his contract in Anaheim has a young goalie that they want to give the reins to.
Yeah.
So me personally, if I see a move for John Gibson, I would be extremely happy. I wouldn't be over the moon about it because I would rather have Binnington, but I would be like, all right, we got a goalie that we know is good until hopefully Kosa or Augustine is ready to give them to. I know, did you hear the sarcasm in the Kosa part? Yeah. Is ready, and then we move on from there. Hopefully that is enough to, with a decor ad, that we have good enough defense to make the playoffs.
Yeah, if you want to be an NHL team, if you want to be serious, if you don't want to be laughed at, you can't go out there with Talbot and Mrazek as you like. It's not going to work. That is, like, aside from quarterback, goaltender is the single most important position in sports, and they can decide your fate. And more often times than not, they do decide your fate when it comes to an NHL season. So, yeah, obviously you guys know I brought up the Binnington trade. I gave it to Max Boltman. He liked it. He's like, wow, I've not even heard of that yet, so I like that. Binnington that's kind of a reach for the stars thing. I don't know if they're going to move him. That's just, they always talk about moving him, so I threw that one out there.
Well, they are shopping Kyrus, so anything's possible.
Tristan Jarry is one that I like. Tristan Jarry is one that I would like to see them go after because, like you said, who knows what the Penguins are doing right now. They're probably going to start selling off their older pieces because they're already talking about what's going on with Malkin, and we know Crosby can't play forever. I would like to go after Tristan Jarry. If we could get him, I think that would be a very good, finally a legitimate number one goaltender you would have, and that could be your bridge to Augustine.
You know, you mentioned a couple of guys in between, but first off, I can't believe John Gibson is still in Anaheim.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another day. If you look back into his career, the ascension and then descension of the Anaheim Ducks. When the Ducks were a playoff team, he was really, really good, putting up fantastic numbers. And even last year, he was good, although his season, he only played 29 games. He's got a 2-year contract. He's 2 years under contract for 2 more years at $6.4 million. I'm not saying that I would say no to like Binnington or Jarry, but John Gibson is very, very intriguing to me, and the Ducks have to get rid of him at some point. He will only be 32 and 33 years old, and 2 years, that might be the perfect bridge at this point. Although, I don't know, is Augustine going to be ready by the 27-28 season?
That's what you're talking about Binnington?
I'm talking about John Gibson.
Yeah, whatever goaltender, because Binnington's the same way. I think he only has 2 years left on his deal. What you would do, you bring him in here, he'd be your no-doubt goaltender 1 for 2 years, and then you re-sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal, and then at the end of that, Augustine would be ready to take the reins for him. Like that second or third year, Augustine is going to be the goaltender 2 or then take over as the goaltender 1. So you would have to re-up whoever you bring in out of these goalies. But that's what I'm willing to do because you don't have a goaltender 1. And I don't want to go into a season where I'm like, all right, let's make the playoffs now with Mrazek and Talbot. I'm sorry. Mrazek and Talbot are a serviceable pairing if you have an elite defense in front of you.
Yep.
But if you're got what the Red Wings got, you need a good goaltender.
And I also want to bring up a swing for the fences type of move here. And there's a possibility he's not available. But the way that the rumors are going around and the way that this team seems like they're selling, I'm willing to take the chance that they would listen to a call, and that is on Ilya Sorokin, the Islanders goalie. I think that he is easily a top 10 goalie in the NHL. He plays well in the playoffs. That team has had no offensive talent for the last 3 years, and he has willed them into the playoffs himself. And he is very, very good. I would love to see us explore that type of option. And that would be one you would have to give up some premium assets for. But I'm willing to do so. When we're talking about bringing in an A-level goalie, a top 7 goalie in the NHL, I think that you got to make the call and you got to at least kick the tires on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would be very surprised if the Islanders were willing to part with him. But, yeah, that would be amazing. That would be number 1. I'd take him over Binnington easily, obviously.
I would do horrible things for Ilya Sorokin.
Yeah.
As in, like, things to myself. I mean, honestly,
I would do things to other people.
Sure.
If you could get Ilya, I would do things to Flannel.
He's arguably one of the best goaltenders in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a Vezina candidate or contender at times. He would be with how his contract shapes up. He's under contract for a long time. He would be the one who would be the goaltender 1 when the Red Wings are ready to win it all, which we don't know if they'll ever get there, but that's what their timeline is. Give that to me any day of the week. I'd love to see what it would actually take to get him, but man, I would be willing to endure some pain of, I don't know if I want to give that guy up for somebody like Ilya Sorokin.
Yeah, it definitely would be like that.
Yeah.
You would have to do
You would have to give up pretty much everything.
Yeah. You would be like that. There would be one in there, the prospect, where you would be like, like shit. Like it'd probably be an MBN or an ASP type of prospect, which would be very hard to give up. But when you're talking about bringing in a goalie like that, you gotta take some chances, and that's where the Red Wings are at right now. And they're at very minimal places with the rumors. We've talked about this. I think we talked about this last week as well. I think that there's no chance on Marner, and I don't even want to entertain it anymore. I think that is just.
Where do you think he's going? Dallas?
I think he's going to Dallas or Vegas.
Dude, him and Mikko would be.
Oh God.
That's literally like a perfect.
Or Marner and Eichel.
Yeah, but.
That would just be. Oh, that'd be.
I don't want. If he goes to Vegas, I'll crash out. I fucking hate Vegas. Dude.
There's a good chance he goes to Vegas for sure. But another player I want to talk about, which it's Buffalo. I mean, they're selling the farm.
Shout out.
Per usual, which is great. Thank you, Buffalo. We appreciate it. Hopefully we can tap in with you at some point. But Bowen Byram, he is an offensive defensive. No.
Bo, yo.
Bowen Byram. He is a offensive defenseman who has put up some pretty good numbers. I'm going to pull it up right now. And they do not like him for some reason. They have a very strong dislike with him as a prospect. They got him in the trade for the midseason trade they did with the Colorado Avalanche. I don't remember what exactly it was. Yeah. But when we're talking about bringing in an offensive defenseman to add to this roster, this is one that's intriguing to me. 38 points, 82 games, 7 goals, 31 assists, and plus 11 on the Sabres. That's pretty impressive when we're talking about playing for the Sabres. And I would entertain this because I'm looking to just bring in competent defensemen. And I'm worried that we're going to strike out on Ekblad. Ekblad is in rumors for teams that are probably going to be willing to pay more than we are. And same thing with all the other guys, Lindgren, Garkiev, whoever. And I think that the defensive market is going to be a trade. And that's where we're going to make the add in the decor is through a trade, not through free agency. And that does scare me. Don't get me wrong. But the way that it seems like things are shaking out, I don't have faith that Yzerman is willing to overpay for a guy in free agency, even if it's only by $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah.
And that's where
that's
I think
stupid.
We're going to miss out on Ekblad, and that's why I last week I was like, we're not going to get Marner. It just doesn't seem like it's even a realistic possibility, and that's extremely sad.
It is, because you have to. You have to, Stevie. This isn't your glory years anymore. This isn't Hockey Town anymore. You're going to have to overpay a little bit if you want legitimate free agents to come here. And I think now would be the time where there isn't an excuse to not overpay. Like you said, the cap's going to go up $30 million in a couple years. If you pay Mitch Marner $15 million a season, that's going to look like a steal in a couple years. For what he is, for who he is, when Connor McDavid's making $22 million a year, when all of these guys are making $20 million a year, and you got Mitch Marner at 15, people are going to be like, wow, that's a really good deal. So if they're scared to overpay, if they're not going to overpay, I think that is terrible management. You have to. If you want a legitimate player, which is what you need now, legitimate stars. We don't need fucking Tarasenko's. We don't need any of those bums. You got to get a star. You're going to have to overpay to bring a star to Detroit. Man. This isn't the Hockey Town anymore. Oh, look at all the cups. Most winning North America or most winning American team. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And we are the same as the Islanders right now. We are almost the same as Buffalo right now. That's how fucking bad it is.
You're not lying, and that's why, on one hand, I could appreciate the intrigue with a Bowen Byram. He's a little bit more Moneyball. I know he's an RFA right now, but that seems more like the type of move that they would make, and I think he would help this decor, and there's no doubt in my mind about it. However, they can't be done with that. I don't think that they necessarily would be, but as we keep talking about, the more and more we don't hear the Red Wings and any rumors or any rumblings with what we have had to endure in multiple off seasons, it's like, isn't this supposed to be the time? Isn't this supposed to be the time where you look in the mirror and be like, we might not be as sure about things and how we feel about certain players and prospects as we did before. We didn't have that linear progression. We had a regression.
And like we said, the Flyers are getting better. The Rangers are going to be better. The Devils are going to be better. Obviously, the Canadiens and the Senators are going to keep rising. If you don't make significant moves to make your team better, you're going to be sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference.
No doubt. And it's an issue. And it just came out that Noah Dobson wants to go to an Eastern Conference team. The Islanders are losing leverage. He is no longer going to go for a top 5 pick, which is what they originally thought that they were going to get for him, because now they've taken too long, and it has come out by an Islanders beat reporter that they are going to have to take a steep discount to a team in conference. Please, if you are talking about
Aljo and our pick tonight, Aljo and our pick tonight, I'd do it right now.
And so hopefully by tomorrow, it seems like he's getting traded tonight. So when this airs tomorrow, hopefully there is a trade with Dobson, and hopefully it's the Wings. But that will do it for Woodward Wings. We'll have more coverage for you all week this week.
Lyndon Lakovich, welcome to Detroit. Great pick by Steve Yzerman.
Hopefully, honestly, that would be unreal. Or Atkinson, 6'4", power defenseman, would love that as well. But we'll have to see.
Jack Nesbitt, welcome to Detroit. Great pick by Steve Yzerman.
We'll catch you for our emergency episodes on July 1st and July 2nd for free agency, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.